What's going on, guys? It's Grant or G Miners here. I want to make this video for a while after playing the 9 to 5 beta, but something really funny actually happened, and my college just decided to completely shaft my ass with a ton of work to do. So I decided to drop off the face of the earth for a few weeks, but I'm back now. On a serious note, I'm mostly making this for anybody who's interested in the game and hasn't had a chance to play the beta, and also for the Red Hill devs to hopefully see so they can get some better insight on their game. I know that they do a pretty good job at listening to the community for their games and making changes, so I'm really hoping they'll see this. If you are someone, who likes videos to be straight to the point and you want a quick review with no background info, I'd pretty much rate the game a 5 out of 10 for its current state. During beta, I think the user interface and progression system in the game is actually amazing. The gameplay, however, needs a lot of work. For mechanics to in-game match design, it's just not the best, and I think that many of the weapons are extremely lackluster in, once again, the current game state. I will say, depending on what changes are made before release, I think the game does have a ton of potential, but the changes made to the game will pretty much make it or break it. I really wanted to start this off by going over the positives in the game already, things that I think should stay in the game and that are already really well designed or working great in beta. Although UI and menus are things that don't have a huge impact on how the game is played, I still wanted to mention it because in 9 to 5, both of these are extremely clean and easy to understand. I also think that it shows that they have an attention to the back end of their game and what information is useful when in matches. The faction system within the game, or otherwise known as corporations, is already super developed, super simple, and will provide hundreds of hours of content and rewards to grind for. Each corporation at this time has 20 levels to unlock, each with progressively better rewards upon reaching each new level. Corporations also have their own mission/bounty system known as projects. Projects have their own unique rewards upon reaching new milestones and completing bounties, which again shows the large quantity of content that 9 to 5 will have on its initial release. The arms depot in the game is another great system. Players unlock blueprints which can be used to craft weapons that pertain to particular corporations. Once unlocked, weapons and their blueprints can be upgraded in rarity, essentially upgrading the quality or efficiency of the weapon. These upgrades unlock new attachment slots and better stat rolls, making the grind for better weapons have an actual advantage in game. The currencies in game, otherwise known as credits and supplies, are used within the arms depot as well. The ecosystem in the game seems to work extremely well, leaving players with never too much nor too little to spend on weapons and blueprints. Armor is also unlocked upon leveling up corporations and completing projects. There are already an abundance of armor sets within 9 to 5 that completely change the way you'll play each match. Armor varies in defensive stats, assistive perks, and usable equipment. The assistive perks are also unlocked with progression, and the equipment pertaining to each armor set is different. Players will be able to unlock new lethals, tacticals, and other equipments as they progress to use in-game. I already mentioned that gameplay was not great as of right now. However, the one thing I think is great is droning. This is super effective in tactical games like Rainbow Six Siege, and I think it's going to add a much needed skill gap to the game. The way that drones work as of right now is still a little rocky. However, the picture-in-picture drone view is extremely useful and shows how Red Hill is trying to make the game as efficient as possible for players. The last thing I wanted to mention as a positive for 9 to 5 was the map design. I think that the maps are extremely well designed, and I think it's obvious that a ton of care and detail went into both the maps that were playable in the beta. That being said, I think that the maps don't fit well with the way the game is currently played, mostly because of their size. More on this later. The things that I mentioned here are obviously not going to be perfect, being that the game is still in beta. Additionally, anything that I mention, I'm providing fixes to, and I'm not just ripping on the game. Once again, I'm hoping that Red Hill devs see this and take some of these things into mind. Starting right back where we left off, I think the devs need to reassess how much the map affects the actual gameplay. As of right now, the maps are way too large. It feels like most stages within a match consist of you and your team running around looking for people or running straight to objectives. The maps are also extremely detailed, as I mentioned, making your team need to clear more of the map before finding objectives or other players. My solution to this would be to rework maps, making them smaller. This would help the game play more tactically and less like a team deathmatch. The other alternative is to change the way that the game is played or the player count, which I will go into detail later. As of right now, the gunplay is nothing to rave over. Guns feel mediocre at best and even worse with no attachments. It's also extremely hard to pick what type of weapon to play each stage of the game with. You never know what range you'll be fighting at, and certain weapon types like SMGs are not viable for long-ranged engagements. The TTK in this game is also extremely high. Headshots make a significant difference, however it still feels like you need half a magazine to kill a single person. I also noticed that reload speed was extremely low. Oftentimes a reload animation would finish, but the gun would not be reloaded. Making the gunplay solid is going to be something that will make or break the game. I would suggest a new injury system where bullets have more impact on players like EFT, because this game is supposed to be tactical. I would also make a single bullet damage a lot higher. This might not increase TTK overall, but landing shots will hold much more value. If this is done, players won't need to spam bullets as much, making reload times not feel as long because you will be reloading much less often. I would not, however, make most guns one-shot headshots. I think this is annoying in games. However, bringing someone's health down to a critical level with a single headshot would still feel balanced. I would also definitely remove hit markers. Stages are a very interesting idea, however, they don't really seem to make sense or provide players with purpose. You can lose the first two stages and then get to team up in a 6v3 against the team that won stage 2. This doesn't really make sense. Additionally, in the first two stages, there's a high chance that one team will win by completing the objective, while the other two teams are just in a gunfight. Again, this doesn't seem to play well and also leads back to map design and the 3v3v3 design. I don't have a great fix for this, however, I would make a team's performance during a stage have more impact on their score or results. You could make each stage have something that teams compete for and earn a score off of, rather than having a single objective. Teams could win individual stages still and earn a bonus at the end of the match for each stage won or a good performance in each stage. Each stage also needs to be longer. Matches feel like they're 5 minutes long, with 50% of that time spent loading or running around. When it comes to 3v3v3, I think this idea sounds cool and gets people intrigued to play the game. However, I think it just plays bad, especially for this game with stages, with large maps, and with tactical gameplay in mind. I think that 4v4v4 would be better, or 3v3v3 with a respawn system. Ultimately, having only 6 enemies to kill each round is not a lot of fun. Another option to keep the 3v3v3 mode is to make earning a kill a lot more rewarding. This would make earning even 2 kills in a round extremely enjoyable. I'm not entirely sure what would make kills more rewarding, however by making a game more tactical, it makes earning kills hard and much more rewarding. I think that if the stages were designed better, the maps were smaller, and the gunplay was fixed, that the 3v3v3 mode would most likely fall into place. I think that audio needs to be made much better. 1 for directional audio and 2 to sound a lot more realistic. Everything right now sounds extremely muffled. Even for a beta, this game should also have way more animations. A lot of the animations are missing, like the drone animation, and some animations end up getting stuck. Graphics for the game need to be better optimized for FPS and render resolution. Additionally, the game at some points would look really grainy and blurry. The last thing, and possibly the most annoying thing about the game, was grenades. There are horrible throw mechanics right now. You'd always throw grenades back at yourself. I think that tracers would be an easy fix. Everything I mentioned along with their fixes are just my opinion. If you have a different opinion or a better idea, by all means let me know in the comments below. I said that currently I thought the game was at a 5 out of 10. I think with some TLC and the right direction, this game could easily launch at an 8 or an 8.5. I'm super excited for the launch of the game still and hopeful to see what changes are made. I hope this video was helpful if you were curious at all to how the game currently plays. Peace.